So good morning again, Christy. It's nice to see you here. And we are going to be talking about quick tips for the Grade Center. So I have items that I want to show you today. You'll see just a kind of a list of them here. Just scoot down that list and let me know if there's anything else I can add to that list, or is there something really important that you need to know about that you might not see on this list. So again, this is tips on things you might not know about the Grade Center, not necessarily on, how to weight your grades or anything like that. So hopefully there'll be some tips that you can learn that you didn't know before. So how do you use how do you use the Grade Center, Christy? Do you use it all the time? Do you
I,
use it?
I do. I use it all the time. One class that I have is asynchronous, so
Okay.
I really rely on that for accessing their work and just making sure that they know that they're on task.
Okay. Good. Good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to uh, share a course so that we can just go through it. And let me see if this is my one. It's coming up, I'm sure. Okay, let me make sure you can see this. For some reason, it's not sharing properly. Okay, can you see? All right, so I'm going to show you some things. I've been using Grade Center for a long time, and there are some things that, you need to kind of find your own rhythm and decide how you're going to use Grade Center. But there are some things that you can do, and maybe there are little annoying things that you see that you might learn how to fix today. The first thing that sometimes bothers me is that, the Grade Center isn't really that big. There's a lot of, information over here, and you might want to have more real estate on the page. And you can do that. I hope you can see this little button right here, this little expand button. When you do that, you remove your menu bar, so that gives you a lot more space. A lot more space on the page when you don't have that menu bar on the side. I don't know if you've ever used this, but this is, has always been important for me. The other thing is, as you're looking down the list and you see all of your students here, sometimes you might want to focus a little more specifically and use what we call screen reader mode. I don't know if you're familiar with that. When you go to screen reader mode, and I think I have to be back on the full screen in order to do that, you're going to see that you'll see that it just takes item by item for you to screen down a little more. You can kind of zero in a little more carefully. You could, go to a student and, click on their grade there, instead of scrolling down the whole page to find what you are looking for. This might make it a little bit easier. I don't use this all the time, but once in a while I do have an occasion to use it. So just keep that, in the back of your mind if you want to just kind of scroll in a different way and find different items that you're interested in. So let me go back up here and get out of the screen reader mode. And I'll just go right back to turning it off. And now we're back to the full grade center. So you decide if you want to go line by line. Sometimes you need to do that to see, you know, how many grades the student might be missing. And the screen reader mode kind of helps as you're doing that. So stop me if there anything isn't clear, Christy, or if you want anything, if you have a question about anything. Okay. Um, the next is looking at the rows that you want displayed. So if you come down to edit rows displayed, and I don't have 24 students in this is just a practice course, but if you have more than 24 students, you're going to see that you have 2 pages, and sometimes you have to go to the second page to find that student. You can edit the number of students that you want
Oh,
displayed. Have you ever used that?
no.
So maybe you want to have 20, I'm going to say 25. You want to have 25 rows displayed on that page. I don't have 25 students here, so it doesn't really make a difference. But you know what I mean when you have to keep scrolling down to the bottom to
Mhm.
see to find that student. On the other hand, you may only want to grade a group at a time. So sometimes I just like to have 5 rows appear on my screen. That's all I want. I just want to do that group of 5 and put in my grade, or look through the grades. So I set the icon sometimes to 5, so that that's your preference, and it may be something that is worth looking at when you're grading. Okay, do you think there would be a time when you might need to do that, Christy?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm talking to individual students about their performance, and I want to, just show them how they're doing, but
Right.
obviously not have everyone else visible. Um, so I didn't even know that that edit rows screen was down there.
Well, that's just, yep, in general. And now, the next tip I have, and this is also something that I use. So if a student, if you're going to be talking to a student, whether you're doing it online or whether you're in a classroom and you are, trying to show them their grades, um, you don't want them to see you should not be showing,
Right.
everybody else's grades to the student. So when you click on this, you can hide other rows. And now, regardless if you had 25 in that column or 30, you can just focus in on this student.
Mhm.
So what you did was hide all other rows, and I'm just showing one row at a time. And you could do that for any student. So I'll go back and show all rows. And it's taken a minute to come up. And maybe I want to come down here to Shannon. I want to hide other rows. And again, I can just look at hers or maybe show her online. And so there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's no confidentiality or security issue if you do that and you're showing the student their grades. Okay, so
If
that's,
if you were to hide one student, like say somebody withdraws, like I had a
uh-huh,
incident where somebody was unresponsive and I withdrew them and then they got back to me and pleaded to get back in class. But then I couldn't figure out how to unhide that person because they were no longer visible.
right. That is a great question. So just think of it this way: when you're, hiding other rows, you're only working with the students that are listed here. But there's another way to see your students, and that is something that does happen all the time. And so if you come down here to, um, oh my goodness, where am I? I just lost my place and make sure my edit mode is on. Okay. When I come down here to my users and groups, and go to users, you're going to see that student that you hid.
Okay.
Okay. And so what you would do is just, come here and change the user's availability, and you would make them available. Okay.
Okay.
So if you hit somebody, they're going to come here and you're going to find no, but you can change it back to yes, and then you'll be able to see them again. That also happens when students get removed or you remove them for whatever reason. And then just like you said, oh, they're back in the class and I need to make sure that they are available. And that's
Mhm.
always a good check. Sometimes I just come down and look at my users just to be sure that nobody has disappeared or become, unavailable. You don't know when that could happen. It could be something from the registrar. So you always want to be sure that all the students that are available in this column too.
Mhm.
Okay, so good question. Yep. Okay, let's see. Let me go back here again to the Grade Center, and we'll talk about a few other items that are available to you right here at the top of the Grade Center bar. So the one thing that you can do, if you come all the way over here to the side, to the right-hand side, you'll find Work Offline. I don't know if you've ever used this or if you ever want to use this, but you can download the entire Grade Center. Okay, unless you change something here, it's going to download all the columns that you have in the Grade Center, or you can choose just a selected column to download. Okay, so you would do the full Grade Center, maybe select a column. If not, you're going to find every uh, column in the Grade Center, and when you submit, it will create a download file. It asks you where you want it to be downloaded to, and just know that it's I can see it at the bottom of my screen now. It downloaded my full Grade Center. Let me bring it up and I'll show you. And what it is an Excel spreadsheet. Blackboard Grade Center is built on an Excel spreadsheet. I hope can you see that coming up?
Yep.
And sometimes you might not have um, Blackboard available to you, but you might have an Excel spreadsheet available to you. So it brings up all the students in the class. As you can see, you can see every column that was available. And if you just want to put your grades here and save it, you can do that. And then when you come back, I'm just going to say don't save, but when you come back, you're going to come back over here to the right hand side and upload that file that you just worked on, and it will put your grades back in the Grade Center. Okay, so that's something to think about. If you don't have access to the internet, you may have access to Excel and you want to work on your grades that way. Okay, let's see. Um, let's look a little uh, here to, I don't know if you can see it, this color is not very bright, but right next to the Work Offline, if you go to the left and click on Filter, you'll see that some items did pop up here. This is another way to maybe choose one student to just focus in on a certain grade. You can focus in on um, here you can focus in on assignments. If you click on assignments, everything that you have listed as an assignment will show in the Grade Center. You might want to focus on, I don't know, Group A. And I'm just randomly picking things to show
Mhm.
you that you don't have to look at the entire Grade Center when you filter. You can filter by category, status, etc. Okay, right here, you'll notice that there's a check and it says show attempts that don't contribute to user's grade. So if you have something in your in your grade center that is not included in the grade center, you could, you know, leave it this way, or if you want to see every single column, you would uncheck it. Okay, so show attempts that don't contribute to users grade center is what you might use so that you see only the attempts maybe that you need to grade in each column cell. Okay, and I don't have many grades in here, so you really can't see. So I'm just going to click that again. So that's a way of filtering your grades or items in that area. What else did I want to show you? All right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to turn the filter off and show you a couple of other things. I just want to see the full grade center again. It'll bring everything back. You also, and this is another, remember how you said you want to see just one student's grades, or maybe you don't, you're talking to a student on the phone and you want to quickly grab their grades and not have to go through the entire list. You can click on one of them and move to the top.
Oh,
Okay, so I quickly took them out of sync. Remember, everything is in ascending order or descending order. If normally that's how it is set up, but if you wanted to move someone to the top of the list so you have it fresh in your mind, you can do that. You can also email directly from the top of the Grade Center bar here. You can choose users that you want to email, which is very similar to coming over to the menu bar and emailing, so you email the entire class. I always go from the menu bar. I don't know why. That's just something I guess that I was used to, but you can email that way. You can also go to this student and you can email that user. Again, you can hide the row. You can view user statistics. This is kind of neat too, and I don't know if you've ever done that, but you can click on view user statistics and you can see all of their different items and what their average was. And again, I don't have much here because this is just um, you know a uh, a user for this particular course. It's not really a student. And you can move from student to student that way too. Do you see the name changing? So if you're interested in looking at the statistics for students, you can use that method. You can also on the columns click and get the column statistics. You can do it this way as well. I know, I think it's the accounting group, of course, because they're accountants, use the statistics to see, how well students did in their class on um, a particular topic. I don't know if that's important to you, but if it is, just know that you can also do that. You do know that when you are grading a student, you can leave feedback for them. Have you ever done that?
yeah. So I have a question about that. So if I want to give them feedback but not grade, can I do that right through there?
You don't want to give a grade and you went, I don't,
So, for
yeah.
example, somebody submits something, but it's not complete. Like, so I get students who will submit documents in pages format, which
Oh,
I can't open.
no.
So I need to like let them know that, hey, I can't open this. Can you submit it as a PDF or, a Word doc? But I don't want to put a numeric grade in.
Right.
I just want to get the message to them without emailing.
I would even, come here and email them right from here. So,
Okay.
yeah, because, and That's a good point because they cannot add pages or Google Docs. They can't submit them, and they should be converting them to PDFs for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
So,
like last week, I'm going through the needs grading thing and somebody's was a pages doc. So I don't want to put a 0 in for the grade, although it will get their attention usually that
mhm.
because then it allows me to put like a comment in that lets them know like, hey, I can't open this doc. Can you please resubmit or email it to me as a PDF? But in order to do the quick comment, there needs to be a grade, is what you're saying.
Yes. So you
Okay.
have to put something in, and then the comment will come up.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm
How
not
do they
sure.
see that? How does that come to their attention?
When they click over here, all the way on the left, when they click on My Grades, I'm not in as a student now, but when they click on My Grades, what they see is their assignment, and theirs is vertical. They
Mhm.
see their assignment. So in this case, they would see paper number 1 is worth, I don't know, 11 points, 15 points, whatever it is. They received a 0 out of 11. And then they see the little chat blurb, the little blurb,
Okay.
and then they'll see your comment right there.
Okay. All right. Good. Because I was wondering, how do they get this feedback? So,
Yeah, good question. Good question. And let's just hope that they are clicking on their grades, their My Grades tab, to find their grades. Good question. So, all right. So there are many filters that you can add, uh, to your grade center to, look at things many different ways. What I want to show you next is very quickly, when you look at students' attempts, do you look at students' attempts?
mhm.
Or okay, and did you ever access their log? For a test. I'm going to take you actually to another class because I want to show you color coding. So just give me a minute here. Let me.
Okay. I had to access last semester. I had problems with students saying they submitted things and I couldn't see them. And
Okay.
so Elaine helped me learn how to run reports.
Oh yeah, you
So
can
that
run a report.
showed me, you know, undeniably what they had or had not done.
Right.
Because it became like a problem. And I was like, Jesus, like, do I have the settings wrong? What have I done here? And that was a moment where I was like, uh-oh, what have I done? Did I lose their work? Like, what's going on? And they did not do the work.
Right. The only way you wouldn't get their work is as you just mentioned, that they did it in tried to submit it in pages, but they're going to tell you that may be the issue. They're going to tell you, I tried to submit it and it wouldn't go through. That's your key to ask, was it a PDF? Was it a document? Was it an Excel? Something like that. But that's probably the best. And yes, creating a report is always a good thing to do. The report looks exactly like their My Grades. So when you create a report for your students here, the way you see it on the screen is what they see in My Grades,
Okay.
but they don't get to see you don't get to see the comments there. You also can look at something called submission receipts. This usually applies to tests and assignments. I don't have anyone here that has a submission receipt, but when students submit an assignment, mostly a test or something, they get a submission receipt. It goes into their email. They probably don't even know that that's available, but they get it's a big long number, and that is their submission receipt. If they received a submission receipt, you will be able to click on it and view their submission receipts.
Okay.
Okay. So that's another way. So you can either do the report, do a submission receipt. You can also click on a student to do their grade history and find things that way. So the last thing that I want to show you is, or talk about, is color coding. I color code. I like to color code my grades. You certainly don't have to, but for me, if I don't need to look at the statistics or run a statistics report, because I can look right here. My gold color means they got, A's, way high A's. Green means they're doing good. This um, a hot pink is really like a red. They're not, this is what they're missing. So to me, that's, I equate that with red. So I can look very quickly, and
How do
answer
you
a
do
student
that?
that way. How do you do that? Okay. You're going to come up here, create grading codes, and you just create your code right here. So I have between 94 and 100. That's that dark yellow, orange, like
Yeah.
gold. That's what I like to do. You can also, I do the background. You can also just color code the text if you want to. So you can just leave the background white and color code the text in a different color. And so I just kind of do it this way. I mostly want to know, um, who's
Who's
failing.
struggling? Yeah,
Yeah,
who's struggling? Yeah.
right. So you set up your range that way. When you submit, um, you'll see it. I just like to do that. Just students don't see that. You see it.
Hmm. But
Okay.
that's good because then it's so easy to pop up
It
instead of.
is. It is. Even if you just want, the ones that failed,
Mhm.
that's easy to see too. What I did want to do is just very quickly ensure that you understand, or maybe have used this. This was a test. I'm going to look at the attempt. And when you give a test and you look at the attempt, you have the option here to clear the attempt. You probably know that.
Mhm.
Um, but the access log is also kind of nice to see too, because you get to see just how many minutes or how many seconds they spend on
Okay.
the whole test, which is, it's kind of a way to see if they're cheating. If you give an hour-long test and they only took 10 minutes to do it, well, hey,
Yeah.
either the
Yeah.
test was too easy or they got the answers from somebody ahead of time.
Well, this
See,
is good because I do use a lot of like short quizzes each week.
yeah.
Um, I have a student in the class who needs additional time,
Oh, okay.
and I there's ample time to take the quiz. But this
Okay.
is nice because I didn't know I could check and see, well, how long is it taking them?
Yeah. I always, I mean, not all the time, but I
Mhm.
spot check to see, if they're taking all the time, do they need more time? So for some reason, there could have been something going on here, because saved question 6 multiple times over a period of 10 seconds. So they there could have been something wrong with their mouse, maybe when they were trying to enter it. Um, there may have been something wrong with their internet. It doesn't mean that they did anything wrong, but if they say, hey, I had trouble with this test, it wouldn't, um, my answer wouldn't save or something. That's just a way to go back and check on that. I like, that was a, whoops, that was a great feature that um, Blackboard put in, when you can access those logs.
Mhm.
So, um, that was all I had.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Oftentimes I will give extra credit, but it doesn't count towards their GPA. I just kind of like hold it on the side.
Okay.
What do people do to keep track of their extra credit? Like,
Okay. You can make a, if they have extra credit, are you going to give them the points or not?
so what I do is I wait until the end of the semester
Okay.
and then I add the points in depending on what the need is.
So what
Pretty
I would
easy
do
to see.
is, yeah, Here's an extra credit. Actually, we must have had this set up. Extra credit. So here's something called EC. You can also hide it from the students, or you can let them know that it's there, but it's not added um, into their total yet. And so what I would do is I would, there's a couple of things you can do. Right now, I have extra credit. There's 5 points added in. Um, right now, this is included in Grade Center calculations. Do you use total points or do you use weighted grades?
Total points.
Okay, so if you have that included in the Grade Center calculations, that 5 points is added in already. Okay,
Okay.
so if you say no, it's not going to add those points in until you want them to be added in. So I just changed it to no. I should have looked at the total before I did that, but um, you'll get the idea and we can look at that. So I have my extra credit column here. Students can see, um, what they earned for it. It's not included in their total score yet. Okay. Um, but at the end of the semester, you can go back and change that to include it in the totals.
Okay.
Okay, you can do that if you want to. That's probably the easiest way that you can do that. Or you can just, like look at the student, look at their grades, and then, add 5 points on to something. And I do that sometimes myself. So at the
Yeah.
end of the semester, I might give them, 10 points to add somewhere. And you'll see, actually, when you go into um, change the grade, you'll see that you've manually changed the grade. You know that, right?
Okay.
Little
Yep.
orange thing. Okay. So that may be a way, manual override. You can override those grades, clear the attempt, edit the grade. So here's 20. I'm going to change this to 20, whoops, 25. There's several ways you can do it, but
Okay.
especially if don't have any edited grades, that'll be easy for you to just pick out.
Yeah, I usually don't add it into the total, but I keep like it visible for them.
Right,
I can see like, okay, I've got 10 points extra, I've got 3 points extra, whatever.
right. So
Okay.
all of these little ticks means that you changed a
Yep.
grade or added something in. Yeah, I don't do extra credit until here's the one I just changed, so I can see that I changed it. And that's a good way of for yourself to know that you added those points in. If nothing in this column had any manual changes to
Mm-hmm.
it, you'd know that you know. So what else? Any other questions? Like I
Um,
said, we're at the um,
if I wanted to make one assignment worth a higher value than others, how would I go about doing that?
well, you would have you're not weighting grades, you're just giving totals.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you change the total of or the possible total of an assignment, that is really weighting it. Because if,
That's what I figured. I mean,
yeah,
it's like
if you're
60
making this
half dozen
test,
the other. Yeah.
right. So if your quiz is only worth 10 points
Yeah.
and your test is worth 100 points,
Yep.
that has a lot more weight.
Yeah. So
And
that's kind of how I was doing it and just keeping it simpler and cleaner.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
sure, you can absolutely do that. You don't have to weight your grades. I think, like in your class, you might not, just assign a different grade. So, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, a discussion board might be worth 10 points, but a quiz or a test is
Mm-hmm.
worth 100 points. Some instructors even give a test 200 points. So, it makes
Okay.
more sense.
Okay. Well, thank you. No, this was all really helpful. I just
Is there anything else that wasn't clear or anything else that or any
no,
questions that
no,
you have?
I really did want to know about, adding those comments in without adding a grade. So that's good to know.
Yeah,
Um, Probably the best approach, just because we only meet once a week in the one class and not at all in the other, is to just email them when that happens.
yes,
Because
yes,
they
because it's a long time between
they don't
classes.
understand. Yeah,
Right,
I'm gonna forget because there's 42 of them.
yes.
Nope, thank you.
Okay, well, good luck. Enjoy the rest of your
Thank you.
week and have a good semester, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much. Have a
You're
good
welcome. Take care.